Well, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the launch of DMA Talent Marketing Challenge for this year. Delighted this year that we'll be working with Costa Coffee on our client brief for you all to work on. So I'm Kate Burnett. I'm General Manager of People and Talent over at the DMA. And on this call today, we've also got some of the Costa team, which is fantastic. So we've got Ed Child, who's Global Head of Consumer Data and Analytics. I think now we've also got Tori Stark, who's going to talk about the brief this afternoon from the same team. And we've also invited Ruth South along, who's Global Head of Talent for Costa, because Costa have a really good graduate scheme for marketing, which we just thought we'd take the opportunity to give you a little bit of information on that as well. So we've got about 40 minutes this afternoon. I'm going to do a bit of an introduction for you. And then I'll hand over to Ed, who's going to give you a little bit of background on Costa. We'll have a quick chat with Ruth about the graduate scheme. And then we're going to dive into the brief with Tori, who's going to give us some more detail on the brief that hopefully some of you may have seen already. And then we've got some time at the end for a Q&A where we'll take people's questions. And hopefully off the back of this, we'll produce a bit of an FAQ that some of you can use with your students as well. So just as by means of introduction, for those that don't already know, we're the Data and Marketing Association. So we're a trade association for the data and marketing industry. We've got about 400 corporate members across the UK, which produces a network of marketers of about 27,000 marketers out there. So it's a great big network for you as students and tutors to take advantage of. All of our members abide by a code of conduct, which is very much about responsible use of data, taking great care of how you manage and use data. And when you're doing the brief, I'd recommend that you go and have a look at the DMA code and think about that as you're actually putting your campaigns together. So the DMA is here to promote and teach standards that build trust and deliver marketing effectiveness. So we're doing the best marketing that we can with the customer at the heart of everything that we do. Our institute, the Institute of Data and Marketing, accredits all of the learning and qualifications that come through the DMA, and we accredit about 25 university courses, of which I know there's some of you here today. And DMA Talent is here to attract and support our next generation of marketing talents, so helping people like yourselves get into the marketing industry and just get a bit closer to it. So the challenge is one of a few different things that we do to do that. It's been running since 1997 when it started a brief with Volkswagen. I can't remember what it was, I wasn't here then, but it was something like the launch of the Volkswagen Beetle or something like that. But the important thing is this is a real business challenge for the client, and it is every year. We work with the likes of Toyota, Guinness, we worked with KFC last year. You know, this isn't a made-up challenge. It's something that you could be working on when you start working marketing. You might be working on this as an individual, as an assignment for your course. If you want to enter the challenge, though, we want you to enter in a team, you know, so it's replicating what it's like, brainstorming, getting together, using different people's talents to come up with a solution. And if you're not lucky enough to have had any experience of working in marketing, this is something that you can talk about when you're applying for jobs and talking to employers. It's a real campaign you've worked on. And also, you know, you get feedback and input from professionals at the end of the process. And I was sat with, we worked with RAP and KFC last year, RAP are the agency. And when we did the pitches, we had teams from 3 or 4 universities. We have 4 very senior professional marketers from RAP who were blown away with the solutions that the students were coming up with, really got stuck in and asked lots of questions and gave a lot of really useful feedback. So get to the pitch stage, it's a really good experience. So how does it work? The brief is up there on the website now. You can download it. Get your team together. You can have between 2 and 6 people within your team. And get that first team meeting in the diary so you can get round, review the brief, decide how you're going to work on it together and perhaps divide up the work, and then get to work on producing your campaign and that summary pitch that you submit initially to us. Closing date for the challenge itself is on the 2nd of June. You upload your entry onto the DMA website. And then from that, we have a couple of weeks to look at all the entries, decide which the strongest ones are that we're going to invite to come and pitch to Costa in early July. And we do the winners straight after we've done the pitch. So really look forward to seeing some good work from you. I just put a few points down here after having done this for a few years as to what makes a good entry and what gets through to that final stage. And I would say without fail, entries that have a good, strong creative idea, which will clearly work with the target audience and meet the objective of the brief, tend to do really well. And I'm not talking about your creative execution here. It's not how you produce a poster or an email or whatever. It's your idea and how that idea brings your campaign together. Do your research if it's appropriate, and most of the time it is to go and do some primary research, but make sure you don't give us war and peace on that research. Just really quickly get to the nuggets that the research has surfaced for you. And really importantly, how do those insights work with the campaign that you've put together and inform you? Show us how the campaign works. Okay, use a Gantt chart or something similar, a nice perhaps graphic, so the judges can see how your campaign works with the different target segments and what that customer journey looks like. That's really helpful when you're trying to review a campaign. And make sure you've done some forecasting. What do you think the results of your campaign will be? How are you going to manage that? And goes without saying, present it well. Make it easy, make it excitable, make it memorable when we're looking through those entries. So I'm going to hand over to Ed in a second, so I'll stop sharing my screen now. But as we go through, if you want to ask any questions, you can pop those questions in the chat, and we'll come back and look at those questions later. So I'll just give Ed a second to share his screen now. Seamless, Ed.
Thanks. It's a good job I work in technology. So has anything come like through yet or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. So good afternoon, everybody. Really nice to kind of be here. So it's like great to be working with the DMA again. We've had a great kind of partnership with the DMA at kind of Costa and myself on some previous roles. So I'm the global head of consumer data and digital analytics at Costa. So I've been with Costa for 3 years, and I'm going to give you a whistle-stop tour on the Costa business. Slides are sharing through, all right? Is that correct? Cool. So bit of background on kind of Costa. So Costa was actually founded in the UK back in 1971 by the Sergio and Bruno brothers, which not a lot of kind of people like know. So we had our first store opened in London in 1981. We were previously owned by a company called Whitbread. So Whitbread saw a lot of kind of Costa's growth through the early 1990s. And then over time, we acquired different companies and opened real estate in like different countries. Part of that was expanding into our Costa Express kind of business. And in 2019, we were importantly bought out by Coca-Cola. So we are one of the kind of brands that's part of the Coca-Cola group, which is a fantastic parent company to be like part of. We are alongside other brands like Monster, Innocent, Powerade, etc., who are all kind of part of Coca-Cola globally. Importantly, we turned 50 years old in 2021, and our kind of business continues to sort of operate around the world. And we're currently in about 35 different like countries all around the world. The UK is our kind of biggest and most dominant market. So hopefully you all kind of drink lots of Costa coffee already, but from a Costa point of view, we're here to play a sort of meaningful role in like people's lives, and we see that there are lots of different opportunities and occasions for like people to stop and enjoy a Costa. And this is important for you to like think about, because people engage with our kind of brand and like sort of business in like different like ways. Some people it's that critical morning pick me up. Other people use it as a bit of reflection and a kind of pause away from like work. Other people use Costa and coffee shops as that more kind of social occasion and an opportunity to connect with like friends and like family, and other people look for those kind of treats and those indulgent like moments when you might want to sort of treat yourself to like something kind of different. So we serve lots of coffee for lots of different occasions and opportunities. So what our kind of challenge today is largely focused on retail, and I'll hand over to kind of Tori to talk through the brief kind of later. But retail is critical for our kind of business, and we've got over 4,000 stores across 30 different countries in the world. And these like stores vary significantly in shape and format and size. So some to your traditional high street locations, to your like drive-throughs, but we also have concessions in like stores like Next or Odeon cinemas too. So we operate lots of different format stores, again targeting the consumer with different missions and needs. But what I'd like you to kind of think about is with a more specific around Costa and digital. So digital forms the kind of heart of this overall like challenge. So I'm just going to give you a quick like run through of Costa's digital and loyalty background. So we are really proud of the Costa Club, which was launched in like 2010, and we launched our Costa Club app back in 2012. Over the years, the kind of app has grown and grown, and you can like use it both in kind of retail stores and across our Costa Express proposition, which are the machines that you can like see there, which you see frequently in petrol stations or convenience stores all around the UK. We then innovated through the app through 2019, offering capability for click and like collect and delivery. So that was really important for kind of Costa during COVID. And in 2020, we relaunched our like Costa Club app with a really simple proposition, and I'll come on to that in a second. So we've also rolled out our kind of app across different global kind of markets. So our sort of common app architecture is used within Poland and India and the UK, and we're like looking at like different opportunities and different markets globally. Finally, we also do a lot of personalization through the app and communications to our consumers. So we have a huge consumer base, and we've got the largest data set on coffee and consumers in the UK, which is absolutely critical to this brief to kind of make you like think about how you could be really utilizing that kind of data to like create great experiences for our customers. So hopefully you all have the kind of Costa Club app already. If you don't, please kind of download it, and that's going to be really important for you, helping understand how the kind of Costa business works. Last year, we launched our like treat drop, which is a big sort of promotional campaign vehicle, which is targeting different consumers with like different offers at like different times. So last slide from me. So just to kind of talk you through these features of the UK loyalty app. So we have a kind of simple stamp card mechanic with the app currently. You buy a drink, you get a kind of bean. Once you've got 10 beans, you get a free drink. If you use a reusable cup, you get 2 beans for every drink, so you can sort of double the speed of like sort of getting like sort of drinks. You can earn beans both in our retail shops, but also on our Costa Express machines, and then we use the app for like messaging like here, so you can target consumers with like relevant tiles and like content. We also have other more functional pieces within the app here, which is more about click and like collect. But think of the app as the consumer's doorway or like gateway into Costa Club. And we have the app in the pockets of millions of like consumers in the UK, which gives us fantastic data, but also gives us a fantastic opportunity to do more and more personalized marketing to our consumers. So I will stop there because I've given you hopefully a holistic view of kind of Costa and our kind of digital background. And I believe I'm going to hand over to Ruth now to just talk through some of the graduate opportunities that Costa offers.
Thank you, Ed. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen, so bear with me while I do that. Hopefully that has come through. So as Kate said, I'm Ruth South and I lead the talent development and apprenticeships area within Costa globally. So it's a pleasure to be here today. I would not have missed the opportunity to have an amazing audience of fantastic future talent. So I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes talking to you a little bit about the Marketing Graduate Programme. Before I do, it seems like 3 years ago was a good time for Costa because that's exactly when I joined, so very similar to Ed. And my role is basically to look after everything that we do in the world of talent development. That includes work experience, our graduate programs, and the 30+ apprenticeship programs that we offer to our team members, as well as running some of our really exciting global leadership programs as well around the world. So I'm going to spend a few minutes, like I say, bringing to life a bit more about the Marketing Graduate Programme. I'm hoping that this is not going to be new to all of you because we've been doing a lot of work recently on making our Marketing Graduate Programme award-winning and gold class. So would love to see some of you applying for the programme next year. But before you do that, I thought it would be a good opportunity to share a little bit about what to expect if you were to apply. So from our perspective, our programme is underpinned by a number of key things. I've worked in marketing and graduate programmes for around the last 10 years. So for me, it's really important that the programme's really structured, but that it delivers amazing opportunities and prospects for those people that are part of the programme. You'd expect to see some of these things on all the programs that you'd apply to. So things like training that's really connected to the day job, a brilliant induction and one that we're really proud of where you're immersed in coffee, and a lot more about what Ed's already talked about, the history of Costa as a super entrepreneurial business and one that has coffee at its core. We are a big believer in terms of within Costa around progression and being promoted based on merit. So for us, having a program that really accelerates your career is super important for us as well. We're really lucky to have an amazing graduate community within Costa. We don't hire hundreds of grads, just to say it is a small program. We've got 3 programs currently across the graduate world, and we've got about 12 to 14 people on program at any time. So that means that you're going to have maximum opportunity to have maximum exposure from the board down. So again, it's a real opportunity to join a fantastic business, but also have access to everything you can see on this slide and more. Lots of info on this slide, but just to give you kind of a sense of the fact that the program is super structured, but it has got lots of flexibility in it as well. So within the Marketing Graduate Programme, you would have 4 6-month rotations. So it's a 2-year programme, and you get an opportunity to rotate around lots of different parts of marketing, which for Costa includes digital and data, which obviously Ed leads on the data side, but also includes things like brand, drinks, innovation, and all the cool products, what's coming up in the future, how we go to market. And so you'll have an opportunity to rotate through all the different aspects of marketing. And at the end, you'll have that really well-rounded experience of working for an amazing global organization and having a real grounding in the area of marketing. You'll get access to a number of things that you can see here, including if you wanted to have professional qualifications paid for through the apprenticeship levy, which again is something that Ed and I have partnered on a lot within the data world. But also you'll have access to community events, and we're really connected with the Coca-Cola system. So Coca-Cola also has graduates, and we now have cross-system events where you've got access to the team across Coca-Cola as well. So great opportunities for exposure. And then a way of connecting in with causes that really matter to you. We also connect you in with sustainability, the community. And so there's what we call a coffee with commitment project or objective as part of your programme with us as well. So you can truly give back to causes that matter to you and that are connected to Costa, including working with our Costa Foundation charity that builds schools in coffee growing communities. And then just a visual, the 4 things that we really focus on. So we believe very strongly in recognition. So we do have lots of opportunities for recognition for our graduates. And as I said, because it's a small group, you get lots of opportunities for exposure. So it becomes very obvious the amazing work that our graduates do. The development, I'd say that, because you've gone through university and you have a certain level of education and understanding, that won't stop when you join the workplace. We really believe in continuing to champion that development. And that might be training, but that also might be presenting to our exec on a project that you've worked on. And I will say as well that our graduate roles are not synthetic, so you won't be making any coffee. Well, you might be, but that won't be your day job, because for us, it's about how do we give our graduates those meaningful experiences. So some of the campaigns you see on social media have been designed by our graduates. Some of the campaigns out there in the world have been built by our graduates. So there are no synthetic roles here. It is about being able to give you the access to make a difference from day one. Lots of connection, whilst we're living in a virtual world, there's lots of opportunity for connecting face-to-face with the rest of the community, celebration events, socials, all the things that you'd want as part of a program to make you feel truly connected to your community, but also to Costa. And as I said, there's obviously going to be an element of giving back, because we know that that's super important to you, but equally that's really important to us as a responsible employer as well. And everything that we do within Costa is underpinned based on our values and our behaviours. So you'll probably see this come out in application processes. Most companies have values. Some will put them on the wall, and they'll stay on the wall. I think for me, one of the things that I absolutely love about working at Costa is that we live and breathe all of these values. And hopefully throughout your time working with us, you'll see these values in action. We're a really passionate group of people who really care about making a difference. And this is why, for the work that we do with the DMA and the fact that we're working with you again this year is so exciting, because last year we had some opportunities to work with students like you. And honestly, it was mind-blowing. So this is a great opportunity to see Costa in action. And obviously, we'd like to think perhaps you might want to consider joining us one day. And if you do, our roles open around April time. So coincides with obviously the program in terms of the work that you're going to be doing. So we'll obviously be able to help you through that process if you're interested. But do connect with us on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me as well. And if you've got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to give me a shout. So I'm sure I ran over because I'm super passionate about attracting amazing talent. But hopefully that gives you a good insight into Costa and our program.
Thanks, Ruth. I knew it was going to be a challenge.
Sorry.
To try and do it in short. Just a couple of questions just quickly whilst sorting the slides back out. Where are the Costa Coffee graduate roles based?
So from a Costa perspective, we're a hybrids company. So typically, for example, some of us are remote based. Our offices are in the south of England, so it's worth considering that. So for example, Ed probably is sitting currently in Wimpole Street. We're lucky enough to have a part of the Coca-Cola building, which is very cool. Really happy that we have a representation in the Coke offices, but we also have offices in Loudwater as well. And I think, whilst we're really happy to support that hybrid nature, I think it's always important to note that, particularly early in career, we want to really encourage people to come together face to face. So yeah, but more questions on that, happy to answer them specifically. But I think south-based is typically where we're heading.
Great. Brilliant. Thanks very much. Okay, so Tori, are you ready to do the brief?
Yes, all good. Yeah. Is it sharing?
Yep, it's sharing. Thanks very much.
Hi everyone, I'm Victoria Stark. I work in Ed's team. I look after the consumer analytics side of things from Costa. I've been here about 5 years. So I'm just going to quickly take you through the brief that we're going to set for you. So self-order kiosks is the brief title. So self-order kiosks are becoming more common in the quick service restaurant industry. They allow customers to order their drinks and food as well as scan their loyalty cards. There's a number of benefits to our customers. So reduction on waiting time, as the staff are more focused on making their drinks rather than taking their orders. Customers can personalize their orders and they have more time to do this. So they're able to see it on the screens. They have reminders to use any offers or promotions that are on their loyalty app. Benefit to ourselves, increased accuracy of orders. Staff focus on the customer service in other areas. Increased efficiency and use of staff time. Potential to increase order value with suggested add-ons. And we maintain competitiveness in line with other food brands such as McDonald's, where they're obviously quite huge. So opportunity. So this is the brief. Drive digital engagement with our self-order kiosks. So the objective, drive 50,000 consumers to use the self-ordering kiosk in the next 3 visits to Costa using their loyalty card and maintain or increase the average order value of £5.50. The campaign, to create a campaign that encourages trial and repeat use of the self-order kiosks. Your campaign should cover any quarter of the next year, specify which one and why you've chosen it. Have a budget of 300,000. This includes any promotion spend on discounts, etc. Clearly define which segments of the loyalty card population you will target and why. We suggest don't just think about obvious demographics, but also think about consumers' behavior, their attitude, who is most likely to use these self-order kiosks. Explain how you will target them, which channels you will use and why. You can use non-digital channels as well. Bring your campaign to life with your creative idea. Detail your budget spend and forecast your results and explain how you'll measure them and give ROI. A few data and assumptions. So obviously we can't share real data. So we're going to give you some assumptions to use for this brief. So we'll assume that Costa has 2 million loyalty card customers in the UK. Usage breaks down into active users is 40%. Lapsed users, which is registered customers, but they've not made an order in the last 4 months, it's around 30%. Inactive users are registered but have not shopped, which is 30%. Current average order value is £5.50. Average footfall in stores is 250 customers per day. And the loyalty consumers make up 50% of transactions per day. Hopefully that all makes sense. I think we're handing over to any questions.
Yeah, so I've just got one thing to add to that. So thank you, Tori. So self-order like kiosks are a really important part, I think, of our kind of digital future. I think they offer some really exciting opportunities to engage with consumers in like new and different ways. I'm pretty sure you're kind of used to using these in your everyday life and at lots of kind of restaurants or QSRs anyway, but how do you think Costa can be really driving kind of value through this? And I think particularly around using data and personalization is a massive opportunity. So we're super excited to see what you guys can come up with.
Great. Thanks both for covering the brief there. I think some of the questions we've got in the chat have actually probably been covered. I had an earlier question about percentage of loyalty app consumers being dormant. So we've picked that up in the data assumptions on the slides there. That's in the brief. What else did I have in here? Chandler's asked, what challenges are Costa facing at the moment and what approaches are you using to overcome them? Is that related to marketing specifically, Chandler, or is that a broader question?
I mean, I can answer it from a sort of Costa perspective.
Yeah, great.
So I guess the challenges Costa overall are facing are the same as a lot of companies: competition, rising costs. So all of those will come into this. Customers moving to cheaper brands because everything's expensive in the world at the moment. So that is key to all of this. So anything we can do to keep customers here, how we can drive their personalization to get them to keep coming back to Costa instead of going to competitors. So key things I'd say from our side.
Brilliant, thank you. Are you able to share, I don't know whether this that you can, are you able to share approximately how much Costa spends on above the line channels for advertising? Is that a difficult one?
Can't really share that kind of data, unfortunately. I think you can probably tell, like most businesses, it's pretty significant. Our digital spend has been growing, obviously, as you would expect, but we still use a lot of traditional media such as radio, out of home, but we have a growing significant spend across digital kind of channels.
Are there any channels that are particularly effective for Costa in your campaigns previously?
I think that kind of depends on the campaign objective. So I think that's a little bit less relevant in this opportunity, because I think this brief is more specifically around particularly the marketing opportunities within the self-order kiosk directly. So you're more kind of like thinking about, once you've got like someone into the store, how can they be using this like capability and technology, and how can you be using data or analytics or personalization to kind of like drive that? So it's a little bit probably different to a broader marketing spend looking at lots of different channels.
Okay, I'm just going to pick off some more questions here. What is the value for the consumer to use the self-ordering kiosk over going to the counter to order via a person? What's the key benefit?
I guess that's speed and ease. You don't have to queue. It's quicker. I'm talking to a customer.
And I think,
Easy to use.
consumer preference, right? It's like self-orders at Tesco's or any other place. Some people want more of a personal service. Some people prefer to take their kind of like time and order via a digital screen. Some people want to talk to like consumers. Some people like don't. So how you can offer different options.
Thanks, Ed. Lois, yes, please use the data that's in the brief as an assumption of what you're working with. So it's, obviously there's confidentiality around some of this, so just use the data that we've given to build your campaign. What insights do you have on the behavior of loyalty card users across the different segments, i.e. active, lapsed, inactive? Are there any specific factors that drive engagement or disengagement within these groups?
So I can share. So we've built what, as you would probably expect, a recency, frequency, value segmentation. So if you guys don't know about Pareto principle, I would suggest you looking into that, which is the principle that 20% of your consumers generate often 80% of your sales. I've seen that hold true in most organizations I've worked in, and I'd say Costa is no exception section to that. So how do you really talk to consumers differently? How could you be using loyalty data to be more engaged, personalized, or targeted to your high frequency, really loyal consumers versus those which come kind of with you less kind of frequently and spend less? So there's a lot of opportunity there in terms of thinking about segmenting your kind of base and how you might want to spend across different consumer segments.
Brilliant, thanks, Ed. Mark, does the activity need to link to any current campaigns or communications? No, and I think also people are going to start this at different times. Not everyone's going to start it right now. Some people won't start it till after Christmas. So no, you don't need to worry about that. What else have I got in here? Good question. Has there been any trials of using AI, artificial intelligence, at the order kiosk using audio communication?
Not specifically. We've done some very short trials more on sort of drive-throughs using AI for sort of voice orders and capability there. We haven't used anything specifically within this space on a self-order kiosk. We've only rolled these out into a very limited number of stores currently, because there's quite a significant cost to rolling these out, which is why demonstrating the real value and uplift of these kind of machines and investing in this incremental infrastructure in our stores is really important, because we need to prove that it drives value, efficiencies, or upsell, cross-sell opportunities, whatever it kind of could be. So I would say think really openly and creatively how you could be using this data or AI capabilities within those machines to be more relevant or personalized. It's a really exciting space.
Brilliant, thank you. Question I was going to ask as well. What would you say is Costa's USP when compared to, say, Starbucks, Gales, McDonald's in terms of from an ordering? Is that for Sean? Is that from an ordering perspective and a kiosk perspective, or is that just an overall experience?
I'd say probably our
Kiosk
kind of
and ordering.
Yeah, I think our kind of USP and part of the rationale of being part of the Coca-Cola group is that we can be servicing your kind of coffee need and occasion everywhere. So whether it's in a kind of retail store, in a drive-through, on the go, in a petrol station, at home, with a delivery, with a collect order, do you want to sit down and chill out, catch up with like friends? Do you want to grab a Costa Coffee on the go? We've got all of those different opportunities, which is what made Costa Coffee very lucrative for Coca-Cola, because you're like offering that kind of coffee opportunity across all of these different like spaces. But I think the opportunity for us is through more being relevant through personalization through the right channels. So through the app, through a digital kiosk, to be going, how can we understand you and be more relevant to you? I think that's a massive opportunity.
Okay. Brilliant. What preferences or behaviors have you noticed when it comes to order personalization? Are there any trends there?
So I'd say, obviously, a bit more traditional coffee consumers like me are a bit boring because we buy the same coffee drinks all the time. We're a little bit less intrigued by our seasonal drinks or the sugary seasonal variations like our maple hazel frappe or things like out there currently. We definitely see more customization and personalization with our younger audiences who like to mix the like drinks up a bit, and I think that's a massive opportunity to then create exactly the drink that you want, whether you want an extra shot, you want cream, a syrup, you want a different like sort of milk, so whether that's based on dietary or allergy needs or just because you want to sort of create something like different. But that's definitely more like popular with a younger generation, to be fair.
Okay. I've got a question here from Shweta. Does this reduce employment within the company? Is there a risk towards company well-being?
No, this is
What you're saying.
the
Yeah.
kind of good thing is here is that actually we're just offering like sort of something which like offers more like opportunity to consumers, because a lot of consumers feel a bit under like pressure when they're ordering at the kind of till and they've got like people queuing behind them. You're giving kind of consumers time and opportunity to browse the kind of menu, take their like sort of time and like do things. So this is definitely not around labor savings. This is more about customer experience.
Okay. Someone's asked are there any demographics you can share of loyalty card members?
Am I allowed to share that? It is more swayed towards females, and it is more swayed toward older people, older customers based. But demographic again does change by our store types. So retail versus a road chef and a moto drive-through versus an express. But if we're looking at stores, largely, older, more females.
Great, thank you. I guess good question here in terms of the campaign they're putting together. Are there any particular categories that Costa are looking to grow? Is there any focus where they should be focusing their attention, or is it more open?
I think we are always looking towards the consumers of the future. So it's great that we're offering our heartland older consumers what they want, but we also need to be tailoring to the needs and preferences of our younger consumers too. So you've seen us expand a lot into our cold drinks range. We sell a huge volume of cold drinks, And also by comparison, over like 50% of Starbucks sales in the US are cold or iced drinks, which is a staggering number. So there's still a huge opportunity, not just in traditional hot coffee, but actually towards growing market share and opportunities in cold and iced drinks, and also products that don't involve kind of coffee as well.
Okay, I think we probably covered this one off. So far, which digital channels bring Costa most customers? I think you've probably kind of covered that already in the earlier question, Ed, unless there's anything you want to add. I think we're good with that one. Right, I think, oh no. Carla, what do you think might be the reason why customers choose not to order from a kiosk? And again, is there a particular demographic that you think might not want to use or benefit from using kiosks?
I think that one's kind of personal preference, right? And it's that bit again. Some people enjoy that human interactive experience. Some people go to a coffee shop all the time and get recognized the second they walk in through the door, and they're like drinks already being kind of made, right? I think that's just down to human nature and what kind of experience you want. So I think it's different.
And I guess it's different at different types of stores as well, isn't it? Smaller stores in a more rural
Exactly.
environment are going to have a different atmosphere to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, if it's kind of busy and peak like trading hours between 8 and like 10, a lot of people are grab and go and want to get in and out very quickly, whereas other consumers want, if you're there and meeting a friend and having a nice sit down and coffee and cake, you're in less of a rush. You're happy to kind of browse a bit more or have a bit of a chat with the barista or whatever, right?
Yeah. Great. I'm just conscious of time. We've kept the Costa team slightly longer than I said we would. Just one last question. Please confirm the brief is just for retail stores.
Yeah.
Perfect. Can I just say a big thank you, actually, not to Costa for doing this in the first place, and to Ruth, Ed, and to Victoria for taking the time this afternoon to do the briefing, but also from very high participation level we've had this afternoon, slightly more people than we expected, which is absolutely fantastic. So we'll make the slides available from the webinar, and we'll make them available through the lecturers, and we may be able to put a link through to them from the website as well. So thanks everyone for participating this afternoon. Good luck. Really looking forward to seeing some of your entries. It's always a good experience to get and have a look through what comes through to the pitch and before that. So best of luck everyone, and thanks for attending today.